Hello, everybody. TGIF, I'm Dale Pinkert. I'm your anchor here in FX Street's live analysis room. Dollar continues to weaken. Yesterday, I thought this might just be it to clear out the stops over the NFP, and it pulled back afterwards, and here we are at new highs. So we're not diverging here. So the dollar looks pretty ugly. I looked at the Dixie chart, and it looks pretty ugly to me. We did make a new high in the pound, so the pound's a relative weakness. Yen is starting to catch up with the S&P's risk on. And Euro pound, I might be wrong short term. Maybe now we're going to make this move up towards 75 into next week. So this is saying, be careful about shorting the euro as long as we're going up. Let me show my screen. Well, anyway, I came back to the euro. I felt that we had unfinished business to take out buy stops. We did that after the Lars session, but here we are again at new highs without divergence. So be careful trying to short the euro. We are getting some nice divergence in the pound as well. And the Dixie is really starting to look pretty vulnerable to me. The bull case is starting to look like it's not going to happen. So we're rolling over. Okay, so we had the recovery after the NFP, and now we're on the verge. I talked about this last Friday on the NFP. We start taking out 94.5 in the dollar index, and I think that we're going to take out this low. Maybe they'll try and turn it. We do have some reversal windows. Norm Winsky's going to be with us today, and then Jimmy Young of Jimmy Young FX. So we have two guests today. How's everyone doing? Let me get into the room and say hello to everybody. Hope everyone had a good London session. Hi, Borja, Khalid, Vedran, Alien, Doji. Everyone doing all right? I see Dr. Savaraman's here. Hi, Doctor. How are you? Doug's in the house. Chi-Town's with us. Abel's here. How's everyone doing today? So this is starting to look pretty ugly unless we turn it at 94.5 Monday or Friday and attempt one more rally. It's starting to look like a breakdown here, and that we're going to go for these lows. So it's interesting to me that the S&Ps are thriving on a weak dollar. Gold is thriving on a weak dollar. So gold and S&Ps are going up together, not counter to each other. That's usually not a good sign longer term for the stock market, but it could go on for a little while. UK Kev, how are you? Yeah, okay, so here we go. Aliens confirming it. We get some kind of bounce and then a failure. All the way down to 93. What's the time frame? 4 hour. Okay, so this is a macro call by Alien. So maybe we get some kind of turn between here and Friday and then a failing rally. I think this is a significant breakdown. I think it measures more than 93, but we'll see. Everyone thank Alien for its Dixie look. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Alien. Khalid's got something for us to look at. Let's see the gambling. Let's see the gamblers look. Khalid's a gambler, just like me. I'm a gambler. I'm a riverboat gambler, just like Khalid. We're kindred spirits. We use too much leverage. Khalid and I use too much leverage, so he's got a return line up here in the euro. So never got down to your 1210. Are you shorting it here, buddy? Thanks for showing these multiple trend lines in here. Kathy Leans wanted to be a bear between 113 and 114. So we'll see if that works out for Kathy Lean at Kathy Lean FX. Thank you, Khalid. So I think we're going to 89. We should go to 89 on that. Alien. Thank you, Gambler. Khalid. Everyone thank Khalid for that look. What's up, Ali? How are you, buddy? I see a new handle in here, plus minus. You bought that pullback at 35, huh? Nice work. I see a new handle in here. Everyone, welcome plus. Welcome plus to our community. How about a LAR welcome for plus? So dollar's in trouble. CAD made a new low. Okay, Veterans showing a live CAD trade. He's bullish here. Way overdue, and you do have divergence down here, Veteran. Nice divergence. This last low in Canada was not confirmed. On my RSI, it was not confirmed. CCI, it was not confirmed for sure. Good hunting on that, Veteran. Everyone thank Veteran for his live, long USD CAD trading call and chart to show what his targets are. Looks like he's looking for 3150 or so. Armand, I've been asking about you. Welcome back. Who missed Armand? Give me a Y. If you missed Armand, give me a Y. Here's my Y. I always miss Armand when he's not around. So the divergence on CAD isn't ideal. It's under 30, but it is. Yeah, Norm. Yeah, we have the planetary opposition with Neptune, Abel, on Sunday. Okay, but can we get a rally back to 31.5? I don't know. Anyone else experiencing delays? Anyone else experiencing delays? Besides Doji? You're getting a delay? Everyone's getting a delay? Oh, everyone missed Armand. Yeah, okay. Where have you been, buddy? Okay, thank you. Okay, so here, I think that Alien's going to help you with your Canada scalp. So we get up to 31. Thank you, Alien. Nice look on Canada. So he agrees with your call for a scalp here, Veteran. Don't marry it. Don't marry it. Date it. So this is just a trade you date, you don't marry. I'm not sure what you're saying, Ali. Confirmed high? We're up here? Where's the confirmed high? We diverged here on the 4 hour. On the daily? On the daily, we diverged dramatically. So maybe it was a 1 hour. I'll have to scroll back. No, we didn't. I don't see any confirmed high. I don't see any confirmed high, buddy. That's why I keep asking you to get screenshot software. So at times when your text doesn't describe what you're talking about, we can see it. Will you do that for me this weekend? Ali, will you get some screenshot software and start sharing your work? Let me ask you this. Why are you resistant to doing it? Why do you resist doing it? You know, I'm not saying you're compelled to do it. It's futures. Okay. But you see, I wouldn't have to try and figure out what it is if I had the picture. Right, I understand that, but I didn't know that when you first said it. You know what I mean? So it saves time of trying to interpret what you're saying. There's no room for interpretation if I have the picture. Agree? I don't have to be a mind reader. I'm too old to be a mind reader, buddy. Help me out. So Armand, I have a question for you. You were a long-term dollar bull, and the market is not trading in a bullish fashion, the dollar. Have you changed your view, and that's why you're just scalping here and there? Because you don't have conviction about the dollar anymore? I'm just being your trading psychiatrist right now. I'm putting you on the couch. Because you were right for a real long time being bullish the dollar, and that's changed, I don't know, since Yellen put the high in. So is it that you just don't have conviction about the dollar? It's hard to turn bearish the dollar? Just trying to get into your head. That is a, you know what? You've described me. That is a great one, Ziggy. And thanks for the tweet, Zig. That's a great one. So let's see. Plus is new, MRC's in the house. Doug's in the house. DD is back. DD, are you enjoying your time in our community? Doji, are you enjoying your time here in LAR? Russell White is back. Here's a new handle. Canapirin. UK Kev, you enjoying your time here? That's where you've been, Paul? Yeah, it's hard to shift biases, isn't it? Everyone welcome Canapirin. Welcome, Canna. How are you, Paul? Russell White, how are you? Ickius is back. How about you, UK Kev? What do you think of our community that you're now part of? What are your impressions? Yeah. Agree. So I saw Todd Gordon's updated video. Mission accomplished, Kev. That's what it does for me too. So Todd Gordon's now allowing for the S&Ps to continue their recovery maybe up towards 2060, 2075, and thinking about October 20th in time. So Todd's revised his count in the S&Ps. I respect Todd's work immensely. He's one of the better Elliotticians out there. Todd Gordon. Well, veteran, you should be loving this because gold's at new highs. And with your view on gold, there's got to be a big gold short coming up. Maybe it's going to be around the same time. I agree with this. 74. Thank you, veteran. So something I've been looking for with the rally in the S&Ps is, according to Chris Laurie, the classic risk on, risk off currency is Aussie yen. And I said last week, I thought we could rally back to the breakdown. The breakdown's here around 89. So I'm beginning to look for potential shorting opportunities in Aussie yen. I can't do it because we have too much Mo on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. But if we are going to head back down in the S&P and take out the October low, this is going to be a pretty good short. So let me update the fibs here. Where is it? Yeah. So let's just say the flash crash low was it. Halfway back is 89 and a half. 89 and a half on Aussie yen. It should have some trouble. This was the breakdown. We're rallying back to the breakdown, so that's on my radar screen. Thank you, Alien. Anyway, guys, give me a Y. Give me a Y if you get what I'm starting to look at in Aussie yen. So we've had a nice rally in Aussie. We could pull back to 111 again, huh? Or 112 something. And then you're looking for 14. Okay. Everyone thank Alien for this roadmap in Euro. Whoops. Thank you, Alien. Welcome to our community, Canna. So as you can see, we're a community. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about everyone. And we share our ideas this way. What's colleague showing? He's showing the S&Ps right here. Okay. Maybe. I don't know if they're done yet. Norm will be talking about it. Norm's going to be with us in about 11 minutes. But that's an interesting look right here in the S&Ps. I do think we're going at least to here, 1750. I'm still thinking 2050, Khalid. 2040, 2050, I'm thinking. Everyone thank D. Kadick for his S&P look. Okay, let's see what you got, veteran. You know, I want to be bearish gold. I just can't do it yet. Maybe up to here. That's the way it looks. We are diverging, but you can't consider this a divergence. Okay. Can someone explain to Vedran why these are not divergences? Here's your confirmed high. Why isn't this a divergence? Anyone know why? Anyone know why this gold chart where Vedran's trying to show RSI divergence is not valid? Before I explain it, anyone know why? Why what he's demonstrating here is divergence, lower RSI peaks are not valid divergences. Can anyone take a guess? I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds to guess. 10. In fact, you shouldn't be guessing. If you know my work, you should know the answer. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No one knows? How disappointing. Everyone go to the corner and put your gum on your nose. Everyone should have known this. Alien, you want to guess? Paul Volcker. Abel, you should know why. Why is this not a valid divergence? Which is what he's trying to show with the RSI. And Vedran, I want you to write this stuff down. Anyone know? Okay. I feel like a failure that people can't answer this question. I'm nothing but a failure. I'm a crummy coach. I'm a crummy teacher because I've been teaching this for 2.5 years in here. Okay, here's the answer. It's simple. The reason why this isn't a valid divergence is because it never took this high out. So for us to have a divergence, it has to be a new price high with a lower RSI. You can't have a divergence unless the price is making new highs and new lows without momentum confirming. You get it, Vedran? If we had this reading and gold had taken out this high, then you had a divergence, but we didn't even make a new high. You need to have new price highs, new price lows, and see whether or not momentum is confirming the new high or the new low, not a lower high or a higher low. You all get Fs today. And I'm going to give everyone a lot of homework over the weekend so they can't have any fun. What do you think of that? I'm a tough taskmaster. No higher high. No higher high. No. He was trying to show that it was diverging. Oh, okay. Then you have no homework this weekend, Alien. And Ranko, that's not correct. All right, I'm going to show it one more time. He's trying to show divergence for these recent little peaks in the gold. But this high never took out this high. Right? So how could it be a divergence? Divergence implies a new price high with a higher, lower RSI reading, or a new price low with a higher RSI reading. You guys get it now? Alien's the only one. MRC, I repeat it every day. I've been teaching this for 2.5 years. Multiple examples. But do you understand it now? Maybe the first time you saw it. Like in the Guppy, you probably have it, right? Now, Guppy confirmed up here at this recent high. Guppy confirmed on the 1 hour. All right, Mauricio's going to tell me to be nicer to everyone, I'm guessing. Norm's Skyping me, Maury. All right, so we're going to have Norm Linsky in a few minutes. Stand by for Norm. www.astrotrend.com. Okay, Jax. Just because you don't use them doesn't mean you can't understand that, right? I don't use 5-minute charts, but I understand what you're doing. So even if you don't use things, to have an understanding of what momentum divergences are isn't going to hurt you. Do you agree? Okay, stand by for Norm Linsky. Norm Linsky, our planetary guru, coming up. Stand by for Norm. You didn't want homework? All right, my homework for you, Jax, is don't drink more than a 12-pack this weekend. All right? That's my homework assignment for you, Jax. No more than a 12-pack this weekend. Can you do that? Hi, Norm. I hear you. Are you here with us, Planet Man?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before I forget, Norm, I was thinking about it, the way I introduce you and I give your website. For some reason, Mauricio, I'm not seeing Norm's stuff up here yet. You may want to screen share, Norm.
Okay.
And I could get more eyeballs on your work, especially after we do an interview, because if you got a Twitter handle, just register and get a Twitter handle. After your interviews, even though I tweet them, okay, so to get eyeballs on it, if you had a Twitter handle, I think that anytime I put out an interview, and it's also another way for you to build followers for your outstanding work. Just a suggestion, you're not compelled to do it, but an idea I have, because I think your work is so good, the more people that can peruse it and consider it would be better for them and better for you.
Okay.
What do you think?
The problem is they need to talk to me before they get the letter.
Yeah, but this is how you do it on Twitter. You
Most of the people
communicate.
who are on Twitter don't believe in talking to people.
Well, okay. I've talked to people I've met on Twitter all the time.
Okay.
But okay, let's get to your work. In fact, 90% of my guests I get from Twitter.
Okay.
So but what do I know, right? I'm just a blind squirrel
No, I'm not
in
saying
the
I know.
middle of a snow-covered forest on a moonless night wearing my shades looking for a nut.
Okay.
So,
Well, you found one.
great, Norm. All right. So
Up.
we see your notes.
What do you got?
The only issue I have right here, and it's what I saw yesterday, is the right-hand side of your notes is being cut off.
I don't know how. I don't know what I can do about that.
All right, I don't either. So let's just go ahead and it'll be recorded and people could go over it. So take it away.
Alrighty. So you can't see the whole page?
I'm saying that part of the sentences are cut off on the right-hand side. Mauricio, is there anything you can do? But you're going to be talking about it, so
Let
we'll
me.
get it.
Does that help any?
Yeah, perfect. You got
Oh
it.
yeah. You
Yeah.
like? All right. Well, it's not as big then, you know.
Okay. That's fine. It's big on our screen.
But you can see a whole sentence now, right?
Yeah.
S ends in T bonds. The last
Right.
word is T bonds there. Okay.
Yeah, we've got the full page now, Norm.
Alrighty. All right. Well, are we ready to kick off here?
Norm Winsky at astrotrend.com about to present his views and reviews of last month's calls and what he sees going forward. Thank you for being with us today, Norm Winsky.
Well, thank you for having me on, Dale. So I was on here about a month ago before the stock market peaked on the 17th, a day or two ahead. I think you remember I asked you to go on there because I was had a huge planetary cluster for the 17th. So I was looking for a big change in trend reversal at that time. Well, I got a results chart on the next page here. So just to start off, the first thing I showed last month was the 14th AC after the close. And let's just flip ahead to the chart here so you can see.
Also, you made a good call. You had something for the euro on the 18th.
I got that in my notes. If you look
Yeah,
ahead,
okay. Go ahead.
we'll get to there. So anyway,
Okay.
here's the what I think I have the S&P here. Yep, S&P 500 15-minute bar chart. Here's the 14th, and right after look at that, we have a nice classic triangle wedge formation here, and it comes to an apex right there on the close of the 14th. Then the next thing we have is a huge cluster right around the 17th. So let's go back to the notes again. And you see AC is after close, so 9:16 after the close, so overnight between the 16th and the 17th, got some big stuff. Morning of the 17th, some more big stuff. Afternoon, and Mercury goes retrograde. I've talked about that before, where the planets go what's called direct retrograde, comes under the umbrella term of a station point, where due to the Earth's relative motion, when you look out in the sky, it appears, that's the key operative word, it appears that the other planets stop their motion and reverse the direction. Mercury does this about 3 to 4 times a year, and it occurred at just past 2 o'clock Eastern Time on the 17th, just about the time of the Federal Reserve making the big announcement that they weren't going to do anything right away. And then you can see here on the chart what the S&P did. You have a big rally into the 17th, so that indicated you were probably going to make a high there. And right there, that red arrow is Mercury going retrograde, and there's the market spiking to a peak within about 40.
Took that trade in buying TVX there. Took it. Worked.
Great, super. Glad you said you made some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it worked within about 45 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was, I think it lasted, there was a rally when the Fed did nothing that lasted maybe an hour, and that was it.
Okay, and then you can see what happened. We had a substantial decline then into the next station point, which was Pluto turning direct on the night of the 24th. These usually work within one trading day, and the market bottomed on the 24th.
Plus, you had a Now index buy down there.
Yep, could be. I had to go back in all my emails there and check that, or I do keep a law, a diary for myself on that, record.
I haven't seen the Now index trade fail for a few months now.
Since early June, when we kind of came into an area here where we had quite a few signals,
Yeah.
I think it's 8 out of 9 now.
Okay, pretty good hit rate.
Yeah, we're working on getting better.
Yeah, you got to go 9 for 9 next time.
There you go. All right, and here's you mentioned that we
I'll
talked
take
about.
8. I'll take 8 out of 9 for the rest of my life.
Alrighty. Coming up here now, you mentioned we talked about the euro last month, and that was based on do a couple of things related to the euro. One of them is the astrological analysis for the euro bank. So the euro bank was going to be active last month, and I gave you some key dates here, and we were going to monitor the euro as a proxy for the euro bank, and I gave you these dates, and here's how they came out. So the first date was August 31. That's this first green arrow here. You had a nice little short-term low there. Then we went down and made the low of the month. LOM is that green arrow there. That was the low of the month. That was the next date, I think, 9/3. Then we went up, made a little short-term high here on that red arrow, and that was 9/8, I believe. Then you had a little pullback for a day or two, and then it took off. And I think it was one day off the high of the month on the next date. That was the 17th.
Yeah, but there was a very minimal follow through from that day. I think maybe another 20 pips higher. That again was the Fed.
You can see that right here where the red arrow is the day before the high of the month. There's HOM with a line. I had the day before, and you can see it went slightly higher the next day.
Yeah.
This is a clunker here where I encircle a bar with red like that. That was a miss. And so here's the next date was a nice little short-term low there. So we have the total is we have 5 out of 6, 83.33%. Okay.
Nice work.
And now we have what's coming up. So the reason I ask you to come on now, Dale, is because we have another one of these big clusters, and when Mercury does go retrograde, that usually lasts about 3 weeks, about 21 days roughly. And so that's where we're at today, the 10th of October, and that will occur around 10:58 a.m. Eastern Time. So that's in about an hour and a half from now. And so
I have a question because I don't see you including it on your 10/11 date. Gann was big on planetary oppositions, and we have one with Neptune on the 11th. Do you consider oppositions at all?
Well, yeah, but I don't know where you're talking about. Well, the 11th here.
Yeah, there's a planetary opposition.
Which one?
Neptune, with Neptune on the 11th.
Well, which one?
What do you mean, which one?
Well, something's opposed Neptune, right?
I think it's with Earth, isn't it? The planetary opposition.
Well, that's just a one-day thing. These are all major cycles. This is a 13-year cycle here.
Okay.
So you're talking about a one-day thing.
See, that's what. Well, look, that's why I asked you. I ask questions so I can learn.
Okay. Well, the 11th is also a Sunday, and
Right.
you only have one-day things. So by the time the market's open on Monday, it'll have come and gone. But this thing is this could have an influence for weeks, and it's culminating on Sunday. And so we got a huge cluster between the 9th and Sunday the 11th, or Monday morning's openings. And so there you go. So let's see. Here's another thing, another big thing. The moon's north node. That's a mathematical point in space. As the moon goes around the Earth, it crosses the ecliptic, the path of the highways, the highway for the planets, and that's a moving point, with an 18.6-year cycle. So every 18.6 months, it will go into a different zodiac sign. So that's what's happening now. We're changing signs, and we're leaving Libra and entering Virgo. Empirical data that this may be working is I've many years ago figured out that Libra has to do with sugar. The moon's north node is like another Jupiter in that it's in abundance. So about 18 months ago, I forecasted that we were likely to have a downtrend in sugar, a bear market for sugar, and that's pretty much what happened. Sugar was going down, down, down until just a few weeks ago. Now it looks like its bear market may be over. So now we're going into Virgo. This probably longer term has a bearish effect on soybeans.
Okay.
So if you want to trade the grains from the long side, I would avoid the beans. Buy something else. Let's see. So that's it. So we got a huge cluster coming up right now, Friday through Monday, and then I always try to throw in something with the currencies. Whatever the plans are telling me is the hot item of the month. If we do have one of those, and we have the C Bank, which is my nickname for the Central Bank of Canada. They're active this month. And so here we have our dates. We have October 2, we have the 9th, and the 12th. So there we go. That corresponds to the other stuff we have here for the other markets. And then the 22nd, and then we have a big, the 12th, by the way, is I underline that as a high, as a, super date, a big date. And then we have the 28th after the close. And this is as of last night's chart, futures on the Canadian dollar. And a Canadian told me yesterday that this was out of date Canadian money, but I think it looks nicer than those coins,
It's a loonie.
A loonie, right?
All right, so we're going up into this time frame with the strength in the crude because it's kind of a petrocurrency. So,
right.
Am I right to assume that with your work, we'd be looking for some type of peak into this time frame for at least a pullback?
I would agree with that.
Okay.
That's what's likely.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then let's. I'm going to tell your folks about how they can get some free stuff and get a free education. So you can get a free, if you contact me right away. I'm going to get into my busy time here in just a few more days. So you got to contact me right away to get a free issue of my letter. And with the letter, you get a free class. Usually on average is about 3 hours, and you're going to get advanced education and advanced technical analysis education. We're going to cover some planetary cycles, advanced Fibonacci, how to do fractals on the markets, and all kinds of neat stuff. And you get like a kind of a graduate college education on technical analysis. But the great thing is, once you get past the language barrier, which is you have to learn, maybe learn 30, 40 things of some of the strange terminology of the planetary cycles and so forth, you really don't need to be smarter than a fifth grader. I can teach this to a grade school kid. So, looks complicated, but it's not really. So here's how you get a hold of me. Let's see, I'm in the USA in sunny Florida at 239-594-3939. You can call me at 239-594-3939. Or if you're overseas, or if you prefer, you can contact me on Skype at norm.winski. Or we also have email. Here we go, down here somewhere is my email. There we go. Here's my email. norm@normwinski.com. So that's
Thank you, Norma. I encourage people to check it out. I find this stuff fascinating. I learned today that I shouldn't pay attention to planetary oppositions as much because they're one-day events, and
so you can't bundle all oppositions together. There's a hierarchy of planetary activity. So some things are.
What is Neptune a metaphor for? I know in mythology he was the king of the sea, water. When you think of Neptune, what does it mean to you?
Well, you mentioned the ocean, and so when we look at human behavior and various things, Neptune tends to be murky. It's not very well defined.
Okay.
So that's kind of ambiguous and murky, like the ocean.
What are the bigger ones? Like Saturn. Saturn's the largest planet, I believe, in Roman.
What you need to
Roman.
do is look. What you need to do is look at them in terms of time cycles. So the
Okay,
farther out you go, the longer the cycle. So
I see.
So for example, we go from the fastest is Mercury. It only takes 88 days to go around the sun.
Right.
Contrast when we get to a so-called outer planets, that's from Jupiter on out. Jupiter takes 11 and a half years. Then we take another leap when you get to Saturn. Now you're talking 29 and a half years.
Wow.
Next is
Okay.
Uranus. Next is Uranus at 84 years.
Wow.
And
I see.
then Neptune at 167 years. And Pluto is 248. So Pluto hasn't even gotten around to where it was when the United States was formed in 1776.
Great perspective. I also have read that Saturn in either Greek or Roman times, they would say to people that if they were in Saturn, it was equal to being in melancholia, depression.
That's true. If in a natal chart, Saturn, if it's strongly, if dominant in a chart, can make a person with a tendency for depression. That's correct.
I must have that planet. But you know what? Thank you for lifting me out of my depression today, buddy.
Oh, thank you. Well, thanks for having me.
Because you know what? You can never be depressed if you're grateful for one thing. And
Okay.
I'm grateful that I got to know you, and I learn from you every time you're on the air. And I do believe that it's fascinating work. And if people have the inclination to know that there's a rhythm to the markets that's parallel to the universe, and that's why things like Fibonacci numbers work, that this is another methodology to give you big picture. And even if you look at Norm States, some pinpoint turning points to take action on.
As it says in
How's
the
that?
Bible.
All right, I'll sum it up. I endorse Norm Winsky's work.
Well, thank you very much, Dale.
Thank you for being with us today, Norm.
Okay. I would just say that I can't imagine trading without this stuff. It's kind of like a weather forecast for the markets,
Yeah.
So, you wouldn't want to go out in a sailboat out in the ocean without checking with the weather forecast first, So I don't know how people trade without this stuff,
Yeah. Well, many ways to skin a cat, but I can say that I've taken advantage of some of your turning points.
Great,
Personally.
super.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to helping some of your folks. So please call me right away so we can get the ball rolling for you.
Okay. Give Norm a call and learn about the universe and how it applies to trading.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Norm.
Thank you very much for having me on, Dale. Everybody have a great day.
Okay. Have a good weekend. Good hunting in these time frames, man.
Yes, sir. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Everyone enjoy. That's Norm Winsky at www.astro/trend.com. Everyone enjoy, Norm. So everyone's talking about Canada right now. Who enjoyed Norm Winsky? Give me a Y. I always enjoy Norm. Here's my Y. Okay, we have another guest coming up in about 25 minutes, Jimmy Young. He's an educator trader. Anyone ever hear of Jimmy Young at Jimmy Young FX? So the pound is the only clear divergence I have here. This was a pretty clean divergence in the pound. Yeah. Yeah, you can.
And his email address, buddy. Thank you, Ricardo. Rick's going to take some time off to recharge. He's a wise man. Thank you, Rick. Everyone doing okay? So we're playing a double header today. Thank you for all your contributions going into your break, Rick. Everyone thank Rick for his contributions to us. When he's here, he's a stalwart contributor. Hi, Tico. Okay, Rob's going to show you how he traded his cane lines. So maybe Rob cleaned up. He got long here. Nice 15-minute charts. Long loss. Long winner. There were other people buying the euro yesterday. I think Alien was long. Thank you, Rob. Nice trading. You could learn, Paul. And you don't have to be an expert. His dates are pretty good. Thank you, Rob. How are you, my trading warrior brother, Tico? Who had a good week? Give me a Y. Give me a Y if you had a good week. Everyone doing okay? So, okay, so Lara is going to be closed on Monday for Columbus Day. So just like Rick, I'm going to take a 3-day weekend. Rick's probably taking longer, but I'm going to take a 3-day weekend, and we will be closed on Monday, guys. Will you guys be able to live without me on Monday? Okay, Yohei will still be on the air, and Dr. Savarman and Tip TV will be here as well. So is those of you who are on FX Street a lot know Dr. Zabaraman? What time is the doctor on? Is he on after Yohei or before Yohei? So we have some new programming coming in. Mauricio is going to build this into a 24-hour channel. I think right now we're about a 5-6 hour channel. So 5 a.m. GMT. So he'll be on before Yohei, 2 days a week. Okay. Oh, you can. You guys could live without me. I know you'll be fine. Maybe, and you know what? The chat will still be open, guys. The chat will still be open, so you guys could still collaborate and share ideas. Just because I'm not here doesn't mean that Lar. Oh, it's Thanksgiving? Okay. So you guys could still come in here and talk to each other and share charts. So keep that in mind. Okay? So you guys could still work. Maybe I'll drop in and say hello and see how you guys are doing Monday. Okay? So here's a look from Veteran and Euroyen, and then Aliens has another look for us. This looks like an either or from Veteran. We're right, it looks like a descending triangle. Looks like it comes in around 37-ish, 36.80. Thank you, Veteran. And here's one from Alien. Alien already did a quick scalp in the Euro. That looked like a nice 3 drive pattern there, Alien. 1, 2, 3. Nice scalp. There's a divergence. Okay, Veteran? This is a divergence. You have your confirmed high for drive 1. See that? You have your new high for your first divergence. That's drive 2. And you have your third high with a reversal candle diverging twice. So these are my ideal setups. 2 divergences and the final one under 70. Take a picture. This is a classic 3 drive divergence setup. Everyone take a picture of this screen. Veteran, this is what a classic Dale Pinkert divergence looks like. See it? Take a screenshot, and it'll just be the inverse for divergence that are buying opportunities. Thank you for the live example, Alien. Thank you. All right. You have a good weekend, Rick. Thanks again for all your contributions to LAR. Thank you, Alien. Snaga. Snaga, guys. Everyone doing okay? So a lot of people had good weeks. I'm glad for everyone who had a good week. Hello, Nate. Welcome back. Zabi, welcome back. Ickius, how are you? Ranko guy, what are you looking at? Nate, are you enjoying your time here? Russell White, how are you? I hope watching us collaborate in LAR is serving you. Hi, Luimo. MRC, how are you? Borgia, great to have you in LAR. DD, great to have you in LAR. Got a pretty nice community working here, continues to grow and evolve. I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break, guys. And we're about 14 minutes away from our second interview, the doubleheader Friday. I'll be back in 5. Okay, Ranko. That's good. Nate, that's good. Nothing wrong with growing. We're growing or we're dying. Pound still looking heavy. Thank you, Borgia. I'll be back in 5, everyone. Stand by for our interview in 13 minutes.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Everyone doing okay? Use less leverage when you're trading the markets. We'll use wider stops so you don't get picked off. Use less leverage when you trade the markets. If you don't, you'll lose your head. Your account will be dead. Another version of my use less leverage when you trade the markets. If you don't, you'll lose your head and your account will be dead. Who you asking, veteran? Mauricio? You want Mauricio to come? That's a tough call. This may have been enough, but if the dollar still has some more downside into next week, this is a 1 hour. There's a shot. Do you like that? If you like that song, you'll love this song. Okay. Here, this is for you, Borgia. Play that. That's my Elvis Presley imitation right there. You want to play it at your leisure. Song is Kentucky Rain, one of my best songs. So, getting back to Alien's question, whether there could be one more shot up, it's possible. It's possible. So I would say yes, there's a possibility. What kind of week is it? So it's an up week. So why not? It did nothing wrong on a weekly basis. So my answer is yes, it can happen. We get one more push up to the wedge up here. Looks like it's going to come in above 154. 61.8 is 50. Well, I don't have the exact fibs. So yes, Alien, I think that can happen. Good eye. Yes, I think it could happen. CAD's coming back. Nice scalp, veteran.
Yen's coming back. What's the crude oil doing today? Crude's has two drives right here. Crude diverged here on the 4 hour. Starting to on the 1. Okay, I could 545. Okay. Pretty good divergence in gold too. Because the dollar looks so weak and you're not looking for the dollar to bottom until next week. What would it take me? About 50 hours to fly to Croatia from San Diego? Be a pretty long flight. Okay, we're about 3 minutes away from our interview. Stand by for Jimmy Young. Stand by for our second guest today, Jimmy Young. Everyone doing okay? Good, Khalid. Don't worry, be happy. You don't worry because you lived through a war. The only war I've lived through is financial wars and emotional wars. You're tough because of that, man. You're a tough guy, veteran. You have much snaga. Oh, you like Kentucky rain, Canna? What's suspicious? So Jimmy should be with us shortly. Are we on the home page, buddy? Ping me when we are. Okay. Let me know. So the euro is retracing back to this channel line. Got a little retrace in the euro. Which means we could get another shot up in the pound, although the pound is looking much weaker. Which means I think we set up a shorting opportunity. Looks like EG could go to 75 now. It held the 200, the 4 hour 200. So we're probably heading up to 75. I think it's going to be a short EG up there. But my whole view is starting to change a bit with the way the Dixie is acting. Everyone doing all right? Guppy's having some trouble here. Stand by for our guest, Jimmy Young. Everyone doing okay? Yeah, well, maybe there's one pop in the dollar. I'm thinking at 31, 131, Tico. Why don't you show that to me, Armand, after our interview? Show me the Euro Aussie. Here's a daily. You have a trend line here. Yeah, I think we're getting close to where this could be a buy. Okay, hello everybody. I'm Dale Pinkert. I'm the anchor here in FX Street's live analysis room. Invite everyone to join us. We share our work via screenshots, and I'm going to be talking to Jimmy Young here in a minute or so. So just to show you that we share our work together, and we show different charts. Here was a nice trade by Alienovich. This is a very classic 3 drive to a top divergence. So you're going to learn trading methods in here. This was drive 1 confirmed, drive 2 diverged, drive 3 second divergence, pulled back in euro. Nice scalp by Alienovich. I'm not showing my charts. So this is what we do here in LAR. We share ideas with pictures. So I'm just waiting for Jimmy Young to join us. And we'll move forward with our second interview of the day. Encourage everyone to come back and look at the video, see what Norm Winsky had to say about his planetary alignments. Stand by for Jimmy Young. Everyone doing okay? So until Jimmy gets here, this is my weekend message. Link has been sent. Use less leverage when you trade the markets. Use wider stops so you don't get picked off. Use less leverage or you might lose your head and your account will be dead. Use less leverage. Standing by for Jimmy Young. Link sent. Looking forward to talking to Jimmy. Should be with us momentarily. Euro looks like it's going to continue to pull back. It broke above this channel line, now testing it here. Pound even weaker. Yen should have more upside. I'm still looking for 121 to be taken out in the yen. with risk on continuing in the S&Ps into next week or the week after. Still think there are stop hunts above 121 in US dollar yen. Give me why if you see it. I'm looking for buy stops to be taken out in the yen above 121.25. And then a better short. Maybe even clean out the stops above 122 as possible. We'll see. Right now it's neutral. My preferred scenario is the dollar rallies a bit and the yen cleans out the bears, takes their buy stops out here, takes their buy stops out here, and perhaps even takes the buy stops out here. And that maybe we get up towards this one, just a shade above 122, at least take out the 21 stops. So we're still waiting for our guest, Jimmy Young. Everyone doing okay? S&P and Dow pulling back. Keep in mind this is Winsky's time window between today and early next week for some type of turn in the S&Ps and dollar. I've really enjoyed collaborating with everyone all week long. I want to thank everyone for sharing their work and making my life easier. In my extremely accurate and humble opinion, we have the best trading community on the net. Who agrees with me that LAR is the best trading community on the net, now expanding into other time zones? I know many of you have been in other chat rooms. You'll find a lot of haters in there and people that root for you to fail so that their failures do not seem as bad. And that's not allowed in our community. We root for everyone's success. Why don't you hold back on the screenshots, guys, for now until after the interview is concluded, okay, veteran? And then we'll wrap it up with your screenshots. Anyone ever been in other trading rooms, chat rooms? Give me why if you've been to other places during trading hours. And how does LAR compare to those other places you've been? I know that it's free and you've probably paid to be in trading rooms. I've had, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? And it's also a lot of compelling ideas. So how does LAR compare to your experiences in other chat rooms, trading rooms? How does it compare? I've facilitated trading rooms where it's basically my analysis, where people stand up and sit down every time I stand up or sit down. What's great about this is the confluence of ideas coming from different methodologies and at times pointing towards the same outcome. Veterans never been in another trading room. This is your first, and you're blessed. You're blessed, veteran, because you're starting in a great place. I know because this is not my first go at it. I've become a better trader facilitating this community. Guess we're having some issues getting this interview going, huh? Everyone doing okay? Okay. Waiting for Jimmy. Well, you know, that's showbiz. Sometimes this happens. Okay, thank you, Ali. Ali's looking to short the gold. I think you got nice divergence setting up here now, Ali. We finally diverged up here on the 1 hour. And I notice the shares are coming off a bit too on the gold. Nice divergence on the 4 hour, Ali. I like, that's a tight stop, but good idea. And I know Ali said when we were here, he wanted to buy a pullback to 35. We almost got there. So he got long, and now he's going to be top picking the gold for his scalp. Oil looks heavy. 51 was one of the targets in crude, wasn't it? A long time ago. I talked $50 when we were in the 40s.
Hello?
Hi, Jimmy. How are you, Jimmy?
Okay, I had no idea how to get in here, but now I made it.
All right, well,
Never used it.
yeah, this is new for us too, using Hangout. We used to do them over Skype, Jimmy. I appreciate you taking the time, and if you're like me, I struggle with technology. My wingman producer, Mauricio, dragged me kicking and screaming into the 21st century. You know, I'm the type of guy who used to update my charts by hand 20 years ago. So I'm glad you fought through the technical difficulties, and great to have you here. I read your bio. You have decades of experience advising banks. You're now an educator. You do mentoring. You trade your own account. Why don't you tell us about, if you could step into a time machine right now, Jimmy, what was it like early on, the most treacherous time of people coming into learning and trading their first year or so? How did you get involved in the industry? Did you have people to guide you? Anyone who was a major influence on you early on, mentors like you're paying it forward now? Why don't you describe to us how it all began for Jimmy Young?
Yeah, sure. I kind of had a unique beginning. I started in 1979 as a Forex voice broker. And in 1981, I was recommended to European American Bank as a junior trader. That meant I get the coffee and stuff and assist the pound dollar trader. I would write his tickets and keep his position and keep his P&L.
Okay, so for people who are younger than us, Jimmy,
Voice broker.
A voice broker would be someone who is on a squawk box, right? Who's calling out bid and offers and where the paper is, and giving some ideas over a squawk box. Before, this was way pre-internet days, and they were the glory days of open outcry.
Yeah. Actually, back when I joined European American Bank, none of the traders used charts. Nobody knew what a chart was. Not a single trader in the room. I actually introduced them to charts because I majored in finance in college, so I had a little idea how to chart things, and I started making some basic bar charts and point and figure charts, and I got them all hooked on it.
Did you use commodity perspective or CRB charts back then? Or you just made up your own?
There was no computers I was in the banks. I started in 1981. There were no computers.
There were chart books, though. I used to get this chart book called
Oh
Commodity
yeah, I know what
Perspective.
you're talking about, but that was for stocks, though, right? Oh, I know.
No, that it was Commodity Perspective charts.
The
And
IMF.
they'd have dailies and weeklies. And
That would be
Jimmy,
the IMF, right?
yeah, I carried it around like a Bible. I had coffee and ketchup and mustard stains, and you know, if I was the wrong way in the market, I would turn. My friends would say, "Dale, turn your charts upside down."
You
So,
know, I forgot all about that book. I do remember it now.
yeah, you needed a pencil or a pen to update your charts.
It
And
was the
who knew-
IMF
who-
from Chicago, from the
And
Chicago.
who knew what intraday charts were?
Yeah.
I think the first technology for intraday charts was VidCom. And I remember the floor traders coming up to the office. I was at Madoff and Sons to use the VidCom. There'd be a line to be able to look at intraday action.
Yeah, that was bad. That was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
actually, the first realization I got of how the forex market really worked was at European American Bank. We intervened for the Bank of England at the time, the North Sea oil and the first Arab oil embargo. So the pound went extremely strong, so much so that against the euro, it was becoming uncompetitive.
Yeah, well, that was the
Well, not the
Deutschmark.
euro.
The Deutschmark, buddy.
Yeah, the German mark.
The
Against the
Deutschmark.
German mark, it was becoming uncompetitive. So the Bank of England said 4.3 German marks for pound, no higher. So they put a ceiling on it. So every day at 11 o'clock, they would go home, and I would be on duty that if it went above 4.3000, 1 pound equal more than 4.3 marks, I'd call the guy from the Bank of England. He would say, sell 50 million pound dollar. I would sell 50 million pound dollar. He'd say, now put in your calculator, multiply pound dollar times dollar mark, and tell me if that number is lower than 4.3000. And I'd do that. It would be like 4.2975. He'd be like, okay, thanks, Jim. And he'd hang up. And that process went on for weeks and months. So the only trade I did, probably should back up a second. I was only there a couple of weeks, and the pound dollar trader left. He went over to Bank Paribas to be chief dealer. So I became the pound dollar trader for the bank after being there less than a month, which was crazy. And the only trade I did every day was I looked for that 4.3 and I sold it because I knew a few seconds later it was going to be back below it.
Okay.
And I had to go into back office actually, and because I wanted to be able to I was the pound dollar trader, but I wanted to do the pound versus the German mark, which in those days there was no cross trades. There was only dollar pairs, only major pairs. So I was majored in finance and accounting in school, so I explained to the back office, this is what you could do. I could do trades with the guy trading the German mark, the dollar mark dealer, and at the end of the day we could just settle up a money difference for all our trades.
You were a pioneer.
Yeah,
Okay.
he said, yeah, you can do that, because the chief dealer said to me, go out there, go in the back office. If you can get prove to me, if they can tell me you can do that, you can do that. Because he saw all the money I could make doing it. Because basically, unless the Bank of England pulled out of 4.3, every trade you did was a winner.
Right.
So it was crazy. So my point is, I realized back then that one currency can drive a currency pair, because by selling pound dollar, as long as dollar mark didn't move, I made the pound worth less versus the German mark. So I understood 35 years ago that you look at one currency at a time when you trade pairs. And it really helped my career, all the years. So in 1985, for example, jumping ahead 4 years, when the Plaza Accord happened and the governments got together and said, we're going to drive down the dollar versus the yen,
Right.
and yen and something else. I forgot what the other one was at this time. One of them
was
was,
the Deutschmark.
was a Swiss franc.
Okay,
And,
Swift.
well,
All
they
right.
dropped them down by 50%. I don't know if some of your listeners know what 50% means. It's the equivalent of saying, the pound going from $1 to $2, like 100 big figures in 2 years. And,
That led to the October '87 crash as bond rates went up, yields went up as the dollar was falling, and the stock market was bifurcated, going up with rates going up because of a weak dollar. So the Plaza Accord really planted the seeds for the October '87 crash, didn't it?
You know, I never thought about that, to be honest.
Okay.
I can tell you this, I got together with some of my institutional buddies. We put some money in to short the stock market after the crash, and we were broke in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Stock market went straight up, took us out of everything. A little hedge fund we put together. You know, we put like 10 grand a piece in. We were busted in like 2 weeks. We were like, oh, that's it. The stock market's going down. Yeah. And it went straight the heck up. That's a little off topic, though. Sorry about that.
Okay, so it's all right. You know, part of this is to, you know, give people an idea of, you know, we're like market historians now, Jimmy, because, you know, the old days really set the seed, and a lot of people were displaced by the internet. I mean, I was a commodity broker. I used to be able to make a living being a commodity broker, and then the internet came in. I also was a floor trader, and paper dried up. So you always kind of worked off the floor. Did you have to make a transition in your career and kind of reinvent yourself when we made that transition from open outcry to the internet coming in and being a disruptor of a lot of trading companies and models?
Well, yeah, it hurt me because my primary business was arbitraging the pound dollar and the dollar mark versus the pound mark currency cross pair. So that thing I learned in '81, I was still by the mid '90s was still doing just that one function because it worked so good. 99% of my trades were winners because they were arbitrage, and they used to be 40, 50 points a lot of times in the trades. Believe it or not, I could make a market in the pound mark pair. And in the two components, the two legs, the pound dollar and the dollar mark, a lot of times I could make 30, 40, 50 points, pips, you know, per million.
They called them
it's crazy.
Back then, didn't they?
What was that?
Didn't they call them points instead of pips back then?
Yeah, they called them points. Yeah, 40 or 50 points. You would know, the young guys would know them as pips. And you could do it all day. I could do it all day long. So I kind of had and I only had one or two other guys who learned how to do that, and I kind of taught them that. So we had a monopoly there. Now, another thing we did off the Chicago market, at 2:30 in the afternoon every day, there would be a huge arbitrage because they were end-of-day traders. So they'd look at their charts at 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern time, right before the market closed, and they'd all rush in and do what their daily charts were telling them. So I used to set up, and you know, I used to build a nice inventory knowing what they're going to do so I could stay a step ahead of it. Where the other traders were, they saw the arbitrage opportunity, but they had to go out and buy them or sell them. I already had them in inventory because I looked at the charts beforehand. So that was an awesome gig. Right. But you find this one.
Okay, so after this, you had to learn how to trade. Because because that wasn't trading. I know guys who made millions just trading off the paper flow. And then once things dried up on the floor, they actually had to learn how to trade. So a lot of people who think that these floor guys were the best traders in the world, it's a misconception because they were just trading against paper. They didn't have to be right. They didn't have to forecast them. It
was more or less hyper trading, only in a different way.
Yeah. So the good old days are gone.
Let me give you one more story. You'll love this one. This is a good one because you appreciate this. When I'm sitting at the desk in the institution in the bank, and I have 4 voice brokers in front of me, and the price starts to move really fast, it would get very quiet because they'd only have one side of the market. Let's say if it was running up, everybody wanted to buy. So it would get real quiet. And then when a seller would come in, because I had worked for a voice broker for 2 years, so I understood this. When a seller would finally come in the market, they'd all start screaming because they could make commissions. They could make bro. You follow?
Right.
So I'd sit there and go, okay, and all of a sudden I hear all the screaming. The other guys in my desk would be panicking, think it's going to go even further in the direction it's been going, and I would just fill them all in, knowing what's happening, what's coming, it's getting ready to turn. And, you know, they were all looking for liquidity. I would provide a whole dealing desk. I just go the other way as the rest of the whole desk, and miraculously it would turn around and start falling, and they would be like, how did you know that? And I'd explain it to them. Sure enough, the next time it was happened, they'd still come to me. It's crazy.
Yeah, algos, Jimmy, don't put out sounds anymore. I used to notice that too when stops were run on the floor.
Yeah.
There'd be a big roar, and at times it was a major turning point. People would be long into the buy stops and cover their longs and reverse, and short into the sell stops and use further selling to cover their shorts and get long. So we still have stop hunts, but what's missing is we don't have the audio anymore. All we have is the visual.
Well, it also changed because it used to be a very small market. So when I worked in London as a pound-dollar trader, in the morning I would call up the other major players in London. I worked for one of the biggest players, so I was one of the biggest pound-dollar traders in the world at the time, in the mid-'80s. So in London, I would call up, a couple of other major players. We'd talk it over, what do you got, what do I got, and then we would just go after those stops.
Right.
And, now they're stopping that a little bit now, but it's still there. Like you can see in the European, I trade the European morning, believe it or not, living on the East Coast of the U.S. I know that's crazy, but that's the best time for me to trade because I like that market. That's what I grew up with.
There are more reversals that take place during the London session than U.S. Is that a belief of yours?
What I believe is that in the morning, in the pound and in the euro, the European and pound banks are coming to work, and they're seeing the orders from their clients, not only the trading clients, but also corporate clients, and they have their order book in front of them, so they can kind of see where the vulnerable spots are, and they go after them. Okay. So if you can develop a trading system, which I have, around that, I have 4 systems I use around that works pretty good. It creates some really nice. I mean, to me, my idea of good results, Dale, is different than the internet. The internet, good results means you're making 20, 50% a month. For me, I don't talk crazy like that. For me, if I can make 20, 25% a year, I feel I'm as good as anybody at trading.
Yeah, because hedge fund managers would do cartwheels for that. And Jimmy, that brings me to a point. You teach people, and I'm sure they ask you this question. Jimmy, how much money do I need? Can I trade for a living with a $10,000 account? My answer to that is yes, if you want to live beneath an underpass. What do you tell them?
Well, let me give you an idea. I've been training for 10 years. If you go on Forex Peace Army or ReviewPips.com or any one of them, I have almost a perfect 5-star rating. I hate to say that because people will go and put up bad reviews just to break my chops. But in the month of September, I took on 1 new client for the whole month. And if I show, and I can show you, I put out a Forex Weekly, I put out a Forex Daily, and the results are truly extraordinary. Now, we've had a good market and the kind of market that suits my style.
You like range-bound markets?
Well, I like the kind of market we're in now because I understand it.
Okay.
For example, my Forex Weekly this week, so far, the last I checked, it was up 900 points for the week. I simply said, buy the commodity pairs versus the dollar, and buy the pound versus the dollar. Leave the euro dollar and dollar yen out because nothing's cooking. Simple enough. 900 points to the good for the week. Right. I give them 4 different ways they could get into the trades on either a daily basis or right at the beginning of the week. And yet I get 1 client. Now, how can that be? You tell me. Because I don't go out and advertise and I don't talk a lot of SH, you know what? Which is what a lot of people do, Dale. That's what a lot of people do there. They tell people they're going to make tons of money. They don't got to know anything. They don't got to do anything.
Well, you know what, Jimmy? Because I'll tell you what, this is why I believe, is from earlier times, before 2007, people had more discretionary capital to put at risk than they do now. And I think that's we've taken a lot of people that could have opened $25,000 commodity accounts, and if they burned it up, they'd be okay. Now, if people did it, they'd be on the streets. And I think it's part of the lack of liquidity is not just the banks, but that the public is not as liquid as they used to be. So I think that's one of the reasons that you could be great and not be attracting a lot of business ethically, or even if you're putting out a lot of hype, because people, if we had red lines for the people that are on food stamps here in the U.S., it would stretch from New York to L.A.
Yeah.
So that, and I only see that getting worse. But let's get back to the present. And you made some great calls on the commodity currencies and the pound, and perhaps we could take a look at what Jimmy Young looks at. You could do a screen share by going up to the left-hand corner.
Let's see if I can do that. The little green one, right?
Yeah, the green one with the arrow.
Got it.
And then you'll see different screens coming up, and you click which one you want to show, and then you click start.
Okay, got it.
And then we'll see your desktop.
Okay, I am screen sharing, it says.
Okay.
I'm still seeing your screen, though. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm seeing my screen too. So
put something right on top of it?
Yeah, go ahead. You could try it. I'm not sure why we're seeing. Here we go. All right. So if you could just widen that box, beautiful.
So let me walk you through this, basically.
Okay, go ahead.
So the prior week, what I told my clients was I decided to stay out of it the prior week because I had no clue. And you can see that what this is looking for the whole week, starting at 0, meaning the starting rate for the pairs at the beginning of the week.
And that's all pairs, or that's a dollar?
Well, this is these 6 pairs.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see the bottom.
So, like, for example, the pound started and ended the week at the same price pretty much. At one point, it was 60 points higher. At one point, it was 75 points lower. Yeah?
Yes.
So the only currency that actually moved on the week more than 50 points was the dollar CAD.
All right, because of crude oil.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird move, really.
Yeah.
Now, so what I do from there is I say, all right, so let's think this over, guys. What's going on here? So what happened? The dollar on Friday, that would be Friday, October 2nd, right, going into this week.
The NFP.
Yeah, the non-farm payroll. So it would make sense. But now with the non-farm payroll being lousy, and the revisions being lousy, and everybody kept talking about how after the summer the revisions were supposed to be positive. That was a really
the dollar should have gotten killed.
The dollar should have got killed, but the stocks should have also got killed.
Right.
Now here's where you come up with how to pick the commodity currencies and why you're getting a double bubble. And the whole idea is to double dip on your currency pair, if that's the right expression. Think about this. If the Dow went up 200 points on Tuesday on those bad numbers, what that means is the market's back to the lower interest rates is good for stock theory. And we all know that this market don't need much to go up when it comes to stocks, right?
Yeah.
So what you're left with here, you can read it if you want, but what it's saying is what we'd expect is the stocks to keep going up this week. Now, if stocks are going to go up, that's got to be good for Aussie, New Zealand, and Canada because they're commodity currencies, and that means higher commodity prices.
Okay.
Now, what's going to happen with the dollar? Well, you got 0 inflation, according to the latest wage earnings number, so most likely the dollar's going down. So if the dollar's going up and the commodity currencies are going, if the dollar's going down and the commodity currencies are going up, that means if you buy Aussie dollar, you buy New Zealand dollar, and you sell dollar Canada, that's the 3 you want to be in.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
You say yeah like you don't quite get it.
No, I get it. I capitalized on it.
To me, it was a totally good one to look at. Now, the pound, okay, you just got the bearish dollar benefiting the pound. Yeah, right. So that's still in the game.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I leave the euro out because some people believe that as stocks go up, euro dollar goes down. So why mess with it when you have 4 of them that look good? So what's left is just go for those 4.
Okay.
And that's it. I'm done.
We're wrapping up the week now. So what you were looking for last week was confirmed this week. Are you looking for a continuation of those trends going into next week?
This is how we looked. This is how we looked yesterday. So this is the pound, Aussie, New Zealand, and Canada. Between the four of them, for the week, you got 740 points, but that was as of yesterday. When you add in today, let's assume today is still, let me check in on today. If we add in today, we're probably looking at over 900 points for the week, like I told you. You know, and it's not a difficult analysis, but what's the tragedy of it is people don't want to go there. People do not want to think fundamentals. They want to try to trivialize it or make believe it doesn't exist. I believe, Dale, that people could be 100 times better, literally 100 times better at trading if they took their charts and they took their indicators and they simply looked at the news and say, okay, all of this news, how is it affecting my chart? They would understand their charts on a much higher level.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I do this constantly, where I look at the charts and I see the technical patterns. A good example would be a couple of weeks ago. I mean, for example, a good one would be, you can see it in a lot.
You're also, by showing those charts and their performance on the week, getting a feel for the relative strength that you want to be long and the relative weakness that you want to be short. So, I mean, that's not completely fundamental analysis. That's relative strength analysis for your preferred longs and shorts, correct?
Well, what I try to do is match up the technicals with the fundamentals and the sentiment and think it all through and say, okay, what's the story? What story am I seeing? The story I saw at the end of last week was the dollar should go down for sure and stocks should go down for sure, but they're going up. So if they continue to go up, that means commodity currency's up and the dollar down, so there's your trade. And as long as the charts are, as long as on Monday and Tuesday, that's what's happening, the prices are accommodating, and we can see the price is accommodated right away, it's fine.
Right.
Now you look at it over here, you had the opposite situation. You know, you got a very nice pair of tweezers here. So I, you know, in my weekly analysis, I put a big red arrow here and said, this looks like it's going to be a down week.
Yeah.
And we caught this nicely, you know.
Yeah, that was a nice trade after the Fed as well, shorting Aussie 72.5 or so.
Yeah, and you know, you also have, I also have my own trading systems. I mean, I don't work without technicals. Technicals is still number one, but when you add the fundamentals in and you can kind of see the story, that's what I'm always after, the story. You know, with the news, it's not as complicated as you would think. So, for example, if you look at the U.S. employment report, you know, this is October 2nd. Coming into that, if you look at it every month, what it does, this is the first 15 minutes in dollar yen after the report. You know, it makes big moves, especially when the numbers, the actual non-farm payroll number, the revisions, the employment number, the average earnings. Okay, that's a lot of work, granted. But is this a contest of how easy you can make it, or is it a contest of making money?
Yeah.
To me,
so into these red events, are you flat and then try and take advantage of the first 15-minute move? I don't trade them. To me, having a position into a red event like that is more roulette than trading. What do? Do you flatten out before it and then look to get on board after?
I look at it three ways. I try to sometimes get in before the news comes out because I feel there's an advantage.
Okay.
So for example, let's say a country's close to raising interest rates, but they haven't. We saw it with Australia when they had their raising interest rates a while ago, where they're talking about, okay, we're going to be raising interest rates, we don't know when. So when they're having, say, a monetary policy statement meeting, they're not going to lower their rates, so there's not going to be a negative surprise. But if they decide to do it a little sooner, rather than sometimes the market thinks they can time it perfectly, well, you're either going to get a huge spike your favor or a little dribble the other way. Under those conditions, I would get in before the news.
Okay. Do you flatten out every Friday and then reassess? And
yes, that's my rule.
Okay, so today's your day to reassess for next week. Any
Yep.
cue on expectations in anything for next week?
I wouldn't make any judgments until I get the end of today's results. I put everything into into this really. These are my, I have a big statistical thing I do here. This is a day, that's a week. This is looking at the pairs. What's the Dow doing? What's oil doing? What's all the news events for next week? Like for next week, this is for next week. We got all these key events, Aussie employment. I gotta look at the whole thing. When I get done looking at the whole thing, and I kind of look at what I'm really looking to do is come up with an opinion that I can't.
Bias.
If my opinion is the same as everybody else's that I'm reading about on the internet, I know that I haven't gone deep enough, and I probably got it wrong. I need to have something that's unique and different.
So that's interesting. You do intelligence gathering. You don't trade in a vacuum. You go out there to see what people are saying to get a feel for sentiment.
Oh yeah, I want to know.
And are there people that you respect, and there are people that you fade within that intelligence gathering?
Well, you are in the business, so you understand this. What I'm about to say. When I initially retired, I would start reading like Bloomberg and Reuters and all, and I'd look at the comments from the people making the comments, and I'd go, "That guy's been in the business 6 months. What he doesn't know anything about it. He just got out of the bank training program," and I found that and most of the time, and no offense meant by this, but a lot of times with the opinions I'm reading, the only ones I'm going to try to respect is somebody I think may know what they're talking about. So if it happens to be a forex broker, no disrespect meant, but if it's a forex broker or something like that, I'm not so sure that their opinion is the right level. And also, the people for the banks, I know that some of these websites, they got 15 different banks giving trade ideas and giving opinions of markets. Well, those people are usually coming right off the training desk, from the bank training programs or the institutional training desk. They're the lowest ones on the totem pole. And the people where that would be valuable, those kind of people, they simply don't make their opinions known on the internet. So what I find is what I'm looking for is not to get ideas, but to figure out how the market's thinking about it, figure out if they got it wrong or not. And then what I want to see is the actual price action the following week to start to agree. If the price action don't agree, I don't fight it. I'm looking for the price. If the price is always right. It's like that show on TV, The Price is Right. But as long as what I think is going to happen starts to happen, then I'm happy to jump in. And that's what this is the way I teach my clients.
Okay, and what's the best way, Jimmy, for people to get in touch with you, follow you? If you want to show your website, go ahead and do that now.
My website's embarrassing.
Okay, well then don't show it. So your Twitter handle is @JimmyYoungFX, is that correct?
Yeah, my website is jimmyyoungforex.com.
Okay.
A lot of people know it as the currency pair Eurodollar, eurodollartrader.com, EURUSDtrader.com. The only thing up there is my picture. It's just one page. I don't really do a website. I don't really have a website per se. I have information if they want to contact me to get in touch, with my programs, etc.
Do you teach online through webinars or?
I can give you an idea. This is what I teach on a bi-monthly basis. So I've got to make that a little bit smaller. I've got an intraday trading systems I teach. So I teach them the system. I teach them it in PowerPoint. We do it in a workshop on a chart, and then we go and trade it live. Same thing here. We're up to here. So we've got swing trading systems, news trading systems, intraday trading systems. But the point is, all of these systems are meant to be tools to execute a view, to execute a
bias. Execute your bias.
To execute the bias if the bias is working. I'm not a bargain hunter. I'm not I really don't. The whole idea of trying to buy something that's going down, I find to be a very foreign concept, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I say this, Jimmy. It's like going to a store. If you buy something cheap, it breaks. Right? We're all tempted to do it.
Words.
We're all tempted to do it because it's a deal, but you know it doesn't have any staying power. So I want to thank you for your time today, Jimmy. I appreciate you sharing your view and for giving us an idea of what you do and some of your techniques. And it's always great talking to someone that was, you know, here when history and the business was different. And congratulations on reinventing yourself, as I've had to do myself.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Dale. It was a lot of fun. It's good talking to another Jurassic trader.
Yeah, so from one dinosaur to another with one leg in the tar pit, Jimmy. I hope that pips rain down on you during this fall trading season.
Thank you. Same to you, Dale. Thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
Good hunting, buddy.
Oh, you know what?
Jimmy.
One last thing. Go ahead. I did four presentations for FX Street in 2004 or 2005. I can't remember. And they were all like long, like 2 hours each. They were all these long presentations. So if I don't know if you could ever dig them out of the archives. But one of the articles I wrote after I did that, I did 4 of them. I came to the 4th one, and I said, what the heck am I going to talk about? I talked about technicals. I talked about news. I talked about sentiment. There's nothing else. So what I came up with was 45 ways not to lose money trading Forex. So for all you new traders out there, if you Google Jimmy Young 45, that'll do it. Up will pop the 45 ways not to lose money trading Forex. I know on what's that, Forex Factory, the article wound up on there, and it got 400 people commented on it, so it's pretty popular. But it is 10 years old, so it is a little dated, but it's still a fun article. So
yeah, that it's great. Have you come up with any more ways?
You know,
I think I've done it at least 80 times. I found 80 ways to lose money in Forex. It might be time to revise it, and if you're interested in getting back on FX Street, I recommend you email Mauricio at FX Street. They're always looking for talented people to share their knowledge with. The best FX portal on the net. Yeah,
it's been around a long time. It's a very good site. Okay, sorry to keep taking your time. Have a lovely weekend.
Go Cubs. You're probably a Yankee fan, right?
I don't watch. I'm not. I got hooked on soccer. You know.
Oh, no kidding. You get.
I spent 5 years going to London.
All right, we're revoking your citizenship in the U.S. Jimmy. I'm making a call. You're a soccer fan in the middle of football season. That's going to be a wrap-up, buddy.
All right.
All right, Jim.
Take care.
Have a great weekend, man.
Bye-bye.
See ya. That's Jimmy Young at Jimmy Young FX. Google his article, Jimmy Young 45 ways not to lose money in the FX market. Everyone enjoy that interview? So, you know, we have to have fun here too, right? Paul enjoyed the interview. Anyone else enjoy the interview? I had fun talking to Jimmy. I'll give you a why. So I want to thank everyone for all your contributions and hanging out with me all week. Doji liked it. Good. I'm glad you guys liked it. So I'm going to wrap it up. And I want to thank everyone for sharing all your ideas this week with the community, with me, keeping me straight in the markets. Let's do a weekly wrap-up. Starting off with Euro USD. You can't argue with the good week. Let's look at weekly charts on all these markets a week. Let me just get my charts back up here for the wrap-up. And we'll do this by looking at weekly charts. So you can't argue with the week the Euro's had. It's had a very good week. Looks like it's due to extend to the upside. I don't know if I'd want to fight it here. Looks pretty good. Let's look at the pound weekly. I think the pound has another rally to above the 54 range. Here's a weekly chart in the pound. Another good week. Bad week in the dollar, good week in euro. Euro actually looks stronger than the pound. Here's your yen. Look like a weekly neutral week. I have too many fibs up here. Let me get rid of some of the fibs. Another fib. Okay. So neutral week, since I think risk on may continue, I still think we're going to go to 22.5. I'm still not ready to short that. I am longer term looking for a correction in euro pound. I showed the weekly chart. I thought we might have one more good decline in euro pound. It's trying to close over the 74.40 level. I thought we might have one shot at 75, but then I'd be looking for a pullback towards 70. This looks like a neckline of a head and shoulders bottom. Canada, we were on top of last week. I still say don't sell Canada in the whole. I'd still be looking for retracements in Canada. And with that weekly wrap up, I want to thank everyone once again. I enjoyed hanging out with all of you guys. Lazaro already found his paper. He posted it. So thank you, veteran. It was nice interviewing you this week. Thank you, Rob Kane, for your charts. Thank you, Ali, for all of your ideas. I'm hoping that you'll accommodate me and get get some screenshot software so we could see your charts. Plus, welcome to Armand. I've been asking about you all week. It's always great to see your handle here. Doji, welcome to MRC. Hope we're adding value. Nate, Pico, UK Kev, all you guys, great additions to LAR. Paul Volker, always good to hear your comments, Paul. Forex Stop Hunter, thank you for all your hard work. Everyone thank Forex Stop Hunter for all his hard work this week. Thank Mauricio Carrillo for his hard work. Thank you, Alien. Thank you, Borgia. Thank you. Welcome to LAR, Pirin, Renko Guy. Thanks for dropping in. FX Street Update. Have a great weekend. Thanks for dropping in. DD, FX Trader. Hope that we're adding value to your trading experience here in FX Street's live analysis room. Jax are wild. Thank you, Jax, for all your screenshots. And remember, you are being punished, and you can only drink a 12-pack this weekend. Let me know how you do on that. Luimo, my friend, always good to see your handle in here. Ricardo, thank you for all your great work. Russell White, welcome to our community. Zavi, welcome to our community. Chi-Town, thanks for all your shares. Ikius, you keep coming back, so you're getting something out of it. And Josh, seeing your handle in here more frequently, welcome to LAR. And I'll see everyone on Monday. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And remember that money comes and goes, and time, I'm telling you, time is gone forever. So make it count. Adios, everyone. And I'll see you on Monday. Oh, I won't be here Monday. Well, I'm not going to be here Monday, but LAR will be open. Yohei will be here. Dr. Savaraman will be here. Tip TV will be here. So good luck on Monday. I'll be back with you guys on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Ciao. Adios.